Miniature Market has thousands of board games at discounted prices. Click the direct link below to see all of those discounted games. Hello my friends, today we are going to be at the Queen's table as different families, and we're going to be trying to make some esteemed and some fallen from grace using spies, guards, assassins, you name it. Today we're taking a look at Courtisans. This is a quick sort of card game, tableau building game from, it's brought to us here in North America by Pandasaurus. Let me show you how it works. I'll see you on the other side. Now in Courtisans, there are 6 different types of cards. Think of them as suits. They're actually like types of people. For example, these are the nightingales. One thing I want to point out is that these cards have some really nice gold leaf here. Like you'll see this little, if I put this up in the light there, you'll see that it shines a little bit. It looks a little different. It's not UV spotting, but it almost looks like a sort of gold leaf. All the cards have that. They look really nice. It's a little hard to catch them on camera, but man, these cards look really nice. Now let's show you what you're trying to do. This might be what the game would look like at the end of a 2-player game. There's a canvas mat in the middle. Each of these has the different families, and cards are going to go above or below them. As cards are above them, if there is more above than below, they're known as an esteemed family. If there's more below than above, then they're known as fallen from grace. Now there are some exceptions to this. For example, we'll look at this one. This has 2 cards here and 2 cards here. However, this is a noble. It says ×2. So this actually acts as 2 cards. So instead of having 2 cards here, you actually have 3. And because it's 3 to 2, there's more above than below. So this suit or family is essentially esteemed. And what that means is each card you have of this is going to be worth a point by default. Now we look at this one. Here's 2 cards. Here's 2 cards, but this one's a ×2. So this one actually is 3 to 2. So this one, any cards you have in front of yourself of this family will be -1. Now we look at this one. This has a ×2. ×2 ×2 this. So this is definitely way fallen from grace. This is 2, 3, 4, 5 to 2. But even though it's 5 to 2, you're still only losing 1 point for each card of this family, the nightingales that you have in your tableau in front of you. So it doesn't matter how far they beat it, it's just whether they are more fallen from grace or more esteemed by default. Each card is going to be worth -1. So this one's fallen from grace, this one is esteemed 2 to 1, and this one is tied, which means it's neutral. Those cards are going to be worth 0 for you. Keep that in mind. Because at the end of the game, we're going to look at your own tableau. And we're going to count it up. Now this family was esteemed. So by default, they're going to be worth 1 point. But again, you could have nobles that are each worth 2 cards. So I'm going to get 2, 4, 5 points for that specific family. This one was fallen from grace. I'm going to get -1, -2, -3, -4 because this one's a ×2. I was going heavy here, but those are all worth 0 points because they were neutral. These get me nothing. This one was fallen from grace, so I got -1. This one was fallen from grace, I get 1. This one was esteemed. I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. In addition to that, you have 2 secret goals. And this might say, hey, nightingales must be fallen from grace. And they were. There was more on the fallen from grace side, so I'm going to get 3 points. This one says, have 3 or more nobles. I do. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually have 6, so I would get 3 points. So you're trying to do those secret goals as well, and whoever has the most points wins. So how do you do this? It's very simple. We're almost through the game here. You have a hand of 3 cards when it's your turn. Always will have 3 cards. One of them has to go into the court, and it has to go into the corresponding family, but you can decide to put it from the esteemed side or the fallen from grace side. So someone might go like this. You have 2 cards left. One of them you're going to put in front of yourself. One of them you're going to put in front of any other player. That's it. 1 to the court, 1 in front of yourself, 1 in front of another neighbor. That's all you're doing in this game. It feels a little bit like an older game called Biblios. Now, what I'm going to show you is there's a few other special ability cards that we'll go over. Some of the cards have a sword on them. They're assassins. When you put an assassin in the Queen's court, this person, you can decide to kill anyone on this side of the Queen's court. So remember, I was collecting a lot of these. Right now they're neutral. I will kill this one. It'll get discarded. Now if it ended, they're esteemed, and all those cards I had from that family are now going to be worth positive points if it ended right now. However, you could place this card in front of somebody else. If that's the card you place there, you get to kill one of theirs. Or you place it in front of yourself to kill one of the negative point cards that you think you'll be getting into the game. So there's lots of different strategies here. Another card is a guard. No matter where it is defended. It cannot be killed by an assassin. The last ability is the spy. Now, some cards will have this spy mask on there. When you place it, regardless of where you place it, you will place it face down. If I wanted to go on the Fallen from Grace side, I would do this. At the end of the game, all the cards here are going to be placed face down. Now you can kill one of these, but if you do, you take it out of the game, but you do not look at it. So face down, at the end of the game, these all get revealed. However, you could put a face down spy in front of yourself, but you can never look at it. You've got to remember what you placed here, because later on, you might not really want this card to be here, depending on what happens in the board. You can also place it in front of somebody else, face down. So that's it. Spies, assassins, guards, nobles, those are the special abilities. Placing 3 cards, one in front of you, one in front of the court, one in front of another player. That's the whole game. All right, first of all, about Courtisans, great artwork. I love the way the cards look. The gold leaf that I kind of tried to show you at the beginning of the overview, the cards just look super nice. They feel good in your hands, good quality. Granted, yes, the artwork is pretty much all the same within the same family, but it's kind of cool because when they become the spy or the assassin, you know, they look a little bit different. So that looks kind of cool. But the cards are great and they look awesome. This game, oh man, depth to complexity ratio here. Simple turn, lots of depth. I mean, you got a hand of 3 cards. 1 to the court, 1 to you, 1 to any other player you choose. That's all you're doing the entire game, but that is so fascinating. Like, it gives you so many good decisions. The table's always changing, so every time it gets back to your turn, you might be thinking something different. You know, when you don't your turn, you draw 3 cards, you start to make a plan. That could change by the time it gets back to your turn. I like that you're sort of making alliances with giving cards. You might be like, hey, Greg, here's a nice little red one. It's worth, it's esteemed right now. Or, hey, you know what? Here's an assassin. I don't really want to give it to you, but I'm going to kill one of your ones that's fallen from grace right now. Okay? I might be doing him a favor right now, but hopefully he'll do me a favor later, right? Maybe not. Maybe I betray him later. Maybe I am accidentally killing somebody that he really needs to be there because of a secret goal. Who knows, right? But you are sort of doing some table talk, making some alliances, trying to gain trust with people sort of earlier in the game, and hoping that they might be able to return the favor. Like, hey, you know what? Remember that favor? You know, maybe pay me back a little bit later, stuff like that. Because you are forced to give a card to someone, and you know, you might, just because of the way things are, you might need to give them assassin. You might not want to just be mean to them right off the bat, because then they might be mean to you for the rest of the game, right? I think there's like the right amount of special cards here. So like there are some that really adds a lot to the flavor of the game. You know, you got the nobles that are worth 2. Those are really important. You got the assassins, that's what we talked about. You're killing, you know, somebody that's there. It's very important. It really changes. I mean, one rightly played assassin in the last round in the King's Court could really flip the game on everybody's head, right? Scoring wise. Especially if it's close there. Makes them maybe neutral, or maybe makes them go from neutral to falling from grace, or esteemed, something like that. The defender's great. You know that one's not going to be messed with. The spy is interesting because you don't really know what it is. I mean, you know what it is when you place it, but you got to remember what it is and where you placed it and what is that thing. And what did I place earlier? Was it a green one? Oh crap! Now green was good, but now they're bad. Now I really don't want this as a spy. Now I want to kill it. Be a little intrigued there. Adds just a nice little flavor. So I like the special cards, and I like that there's not too many of them. There's just a handful, small 4 of them, and they all do pretty normal things. As I mentioned in the overview, this game has a feel of a game that I love, which is still one of my favorite games of all time, filler games. It's called Biblios, where you have 3 cards, and you got to take one, you got to put one in sort of like a little pile for later, and one to another player. You know, and then you got to put the other ones up to the other players. This has that same feel of like, oh, agonizing decisions. Oh, I want both of these. Oh, I don't want any of these. So what do I do with these other 2 to make it so this one is better than what it really is? It's such a simple concept. I don't know why more games don't use this sort of this concept. You know, it's instead of like I split, you choose. It's like I split, I choose. But I have to give something to you, so I'm choosing what you get too, and I'm choosing the main pool, and I'm choosing me. It works so beautifully. I don't know why more games don't do this. The game is really fantastic. Let me talk about some of the things that were not as good. Some of the goals might match well with other players. So like you might have a goal that says make the nightingales, you know, fallen from grace, and other people might have a goal. Another player might have a goal that says make the other people, you know, maybe the carps fallen from grace. Then the third player might say you need to have all but 3 families fallen from grace. So you've got like 3 players working sort of together, even though they don't really know they're doing this because it's silent, it's hidden. And maybe your goal is the opposite of one of those, or maybe it's something that's get more people esteemed. And it's like, you don't know it, but you're not going to get that goal, right? And you could be fighting for it. So sometimes the goals might match well with other players and not with others, and it might be unbalanced in that way. Some goals are easier with different player counts. One of the goals is like, hey, get 3 spies. Well, getting 3 spies is a lot easier in a game where you have more turns. because you do scale how many cards there are per player count, which means you're going to get a certain amount of turns. So granted, it's not a huge amount of difference of turns between a 2-player and a 5-player game, but you do have more turns, right? And so in a game where you have more turns, you're going to have more blind draws to get spies to place down. So some of the goals, depending on the combinations that come out, you might not be able to get some just because of that, because of what other people are doing, and some of them might be harder to get in certain player counts. So that's my only negative there. They are 3 points apiece. It's not anything to sneeze at. 5 players, I wouldn't say the game's bad at 5, but it definitely is more chaotic. So it felt a little too chaotic for what I like. But even with that being said, the game was still so enjoyable. Where else can you play a game of 5 players that's this engaging, that's this quick, that you could, when you're done, you're like, hey, you guys done over there? No, okay, let's run it back. Let's play it again. I wouldn't not play it with 5 players. It's just not my favorite player count. All the other player counts are cool. 2 players, ooh man, this is super cutthroat. Because, I mean, assassins all over the place. You're going to be, it's super cutthroat. It's a 1 against 1. You're going to be in each other's face, messing with each other. And a 2-player game can be too cutthroat for some players. I didn't mind it. I actually liked it that way. But if you don't like mean games, I mean, when it's 2 players, it's just you versus them. Granted, sure, you could put the assassin somewhere else on yourself or in the middle, but you're probably not going to win if you do that a lot. So those are the negative things. But overall, this game is fantastic. If you're looking for that quick little filler game that just is very engaging, very fun, plays well over wide rounds, player counts quick, lots of depth, I think you're going to take out Courtisans because of all these reasons. It's getting my highest honors, getting a Saxophone Serenade because it's going to be staying in my gaming library. So let's hit it. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, and if you missed their 4.0 Kickstarter, you can still late pledge and take advantage of over 40 unlocked stretch goals and early fulfillment. This campaign featured a new Young Sherlock table, perfect for children's gaming, and movable coffee table, 10 new thematic mats by top artists like Vincent Dutray, a new designer art series Minecraft topper with thematic art from Brent Woodside, and some of the best package deals they've had, including game mat bundles. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below to late pledge now.